Here's your First Alert 5 weather with Alex O'Brien.
Well, I finally do have some good news for us. At least for the next 4 days, our fire weather conditions will be very low. This doesn't mean it's not possible for another fire to start or current fires to grow, but they won't do so as rapidly in the next couple of days because we have seen explosive growth, especially of the Cameron Peak fire in the last few days. So the big change we've watched is a cold front that has moved through Colorado, and a boundary has remained stationary on the central portion of the state. What this will do is it will increase humidity, keep some clouds around, keep temperatures cooler. So all good news. We do have some clouds streaming across the region. Notice how they're moving out of the northwest. That's from the jet stream still overhead, but those strong jet stream winds won't make it to the surface today. Look at our humidity, thankfully above 50% across the eastern plains, and this should stay put for at least a good portion of the day, at least half the day. We'll see that humidity higher. And we are cooler for the eastern portion of the state, about 15 to 20 degrees cooler for us thanks to that frontal boundary. So waking up this morning, we do see those clouds in place. The smoke is not quite as dense as I had initially expected it to be come this morning. Thanks to the northerly wind, we do have wildfire smoke in our region, but I think it has stayed elevated. It's not near the surface, so that's good news for air quality. 37 degrees right now in Colorado Springs. Definitely a chilly start. You will need a coat today. It's 39 in Pueblo right now, and our winds are now back out of a southerly direction after that front has moved through. So today will be quite chilly, 54 for both the Springs and Pueblo, and we will be below our average highs that are typically in the 60s. So planning the day, we expect the clouds to stick around, especially in the eastern plains, where it will stay chilly through most of the day, probably even colder in spots than the mountains. And that's because this cold front moved in from the backside of the state and it's remained stationary. So through the daytime, we'll be in the 40s and 50s in the plains. We will be warmer in the mountains. They've been sheltered from this front in general. And we will be sunny in the mountains, a bit cloudy in the plains. By tonight, we are expecting temperatures to drop to the 30s. Now looking forward to next week, we're expecting conditions to be pretty stagnant. We'll be stuck in the middle of cold air to the north, warm air to the south until we expect changes to come on Sunday. A dip in our jet stream pulls in some Canadian air, and hopefully we'll see a chance for snow. We have some insight on a potential for snow next Sunday. Still a ton of details to work out though, so stay tuned for that. Now highs today, coolest to the northeast, warmest in the San Luis Valley, sheltered by that cold front, 54 in the middle in Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Tonight, expect a deep freeze in the plains, likely to stay just above freezing along I-25, and then 30s and 40s into the mountains. And then by tomorrow, a bit of a warm up, and we'll stay in that nice calm weather heading into next week. We will have a couple of breezy days by the end of the week because that's when our next system starts to roll in. And then we could potentially have some precipitation by Sunday. We'll be watching that very closely. Could be a bit hazy in Pueblo today, warmer in the upper 70s and even some low 80s through most of next week, then cooling off to the 60s by Friday. For Canyon City, cold today, up to the 70s next week. Really great conditions overall with a couple of breezy days. For Woodland Park, upper 50s today, 10-degree warm up by tomorrow, and then we're looking forward to 60s through most of next week. Renee?